What is going on, guys? MobileCarrierNews here, and AT&T is bashing with about CBRS due to its power limitations. Now, what's basically going on in this article is AT&T is upset that the United States, for not only them, but I guess for the other two carriers, which is AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, are not being allowed to use full limitation of CBRS, which is Citizens Broadband Radio Service, to deploy everywhere in their spectrum, their licenses, their 3 gigahertz, the 2.5, and basically anywhere else you can add to the radio stations and improve the service and speeds. And AT&T is complaining that the United States is pretty much far behind on it with their 5G. And they're in talks of even talking about 6G. Now, this is where I have to put the pause on AT&T, because we're barely in the third year, starting on the 4 years. 4 years of the new 5G with mid-band spectrum, low band, and millimeter wave / C-band. And I really don't think AT&T should be really mentioning about 6G, because 6G is literally, I think, 7 or 8 years away, and we really need to focus on 5G. And AT&T is pointing out that it needs to be used in full power. It needs to have its full limitation, and the reason they say this is because basically half of the spectrum that's used, I'm pretty sure it's 50%. It's either, their own spectrum, their own uses, they pay for it, they have their own fiber, and the other half is they have to, unfortunately share the spectrum, because not only can it be too much for just one carrier alone, it might cause issues, problems involved, and AT&T is not too fond of that. They don't really like sharing as much as, they have to. They don't like it. They really don't like that. And they think each carrier that has their own use of spectrum, regardless if AT&T or Verizon is leasing half of them or have their own, because they mostly have their own, and T-Mobile does most of the leasing. AT&T doesn't like sharing, regardless if Verizon or T-Mobile agree to that or not. AT&T wants full use of CBRS, and they basically want it now. They are not playing around. They're being really serious about this. And I've actually experienced a little bit of CBRS in San Diego when I went there. There was a specific location in Gaslamp. It was next to this parking lot, if I remember correctly. There was like one tower, I think 0.2 miles away, basically really close to me. And I did a speed test. And just on 5G alone, on the icon, it said 5G. It didn't show ultra wideband. It just said 5G. And when I did the speed test, I kid you not, it was CBRS. I was getting anywhere from 800 to a gigabyte down, and I think 200, almost 300 up, and it was insane. I didn't even know it was CBRS till someone put it in the comments, or I did more research on it. And it's like, wow, the CBRS here is crazy. But anywhere else I went, it wasn't performing properly. It was in that one specific location. That's what basically AT&T wants. They want CBRS deployed anywhere as much as possible, or in certain locations that expands and reaches out everywhere, so customers get more, use of the spectrum. They can deploy more, do more, and AT&T doesn't like this power limitation, because people are so either anti-5G, which I find really ridiculous. Like, 5G has not caused any harm from it starting in 2019 to 2020 to now 2023, going into 2024. There hasn't been any issues. There really hasn't. Like, I have not felt anything bad using 5G. All I've noticed with 5G is lower latency, faster performance, or an overall better coverage in general. I haven't had AT&T coverage. I haven't had AT&T service since 2019, 2020, but I'm pretty sure their 5G works good too. So I am agreeing a little bit AT&T, but the 6G just throws me off. Like, let's focus on 5G first. Yes, there could be some arguments that 5G needs to be limited. I mean, sorry, the CBRS needs to be power needs to be lowered, or use the full power, mid power at best. But I don't really see any issues with this. I think these discussions need to be talked more thoroughly, talked with lawyers, consultants, the CEOs, people, maybe investors. But I think there should be something done with this. AT&T needs to figure something out. Regardless if you're into sharing the spectrum or fiber or anything, something has to be done. But let me know what you guys think about this. I think we can use the full power of any kind of spectrum without having any interference. The moment there's no interference, it's good to go. There'll be a lot of there'll be a lot of usage used, anywhere from 100 gigabytes to a terabyte. Kind of reminds me of the Super Bowls in the arenas. Or if there's any issues, we might lower the power just a little bit, but not at full scale, because the last thing you want is over 1,000 or more people using your service, and your service either slows down or there's just like a crash. It's just a whole mess. But let me know what you guys think about this. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe for more videos like this, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.